Scrambled Eggs. I wrote it this winter, and it was a sort of tentative title. And I was sort of expecting that I would come up with something better at some point, and it was only in preparing this reading this week that I realized I was attached to it as a title, and that the material fact is that I actually hate scrambled eggs as a thing to eat. And then I realized that I had had them a few times in which I really loved them, and they were made by my mother, which gave me a little chuckle. And then, so I asked her to send me her recipe for scrambled eggs. And that is one of the two epigraphs. She was, and yeah, I felt like a good daughter. She was so happy to be included in the poem. But then she asked me to send it to her today, and I have to decide what to do about that. So this is my mom's recipe for scrambled eggs. The key operative of cooking fluffy, soft scrambled eggs is low and slow. Crack 2 eggs per person into a bowl, add a touch of cream or half and half. Beat with a fork until incorporated. Add salt and pepper to taste. In the meantime, preheat a pan over low to medium heat. Add a pat or 2 of butter, depending on the amount of eggs you are scrambling. Melt butter until it is nutty in smell but not brown. Turn pan down to low heat. Put in the eggs. Move around with a spatula until they are even in a pan. Cook over low heat, moving after some egg curds form. Continue to cook and stir until they are underdone, moist, as they will continue to cook. Turn off heat, add a bit of butter until it melts. Immediately serve on plates. Add more salt and pepper if needed to taste. This second epigraph is from Nina Simone's Mississippi Goddamn. You keep on saying, go slow. But that's just the trouble. Do it slow. Desegregation. Do it slow. Mass participation. Do it slow. Reunification. Do it slow. Do things gradually. Do it slow. But bring more tragedy. Do it slow. Why don't you see it? Why don't you feel it? I don't know. I don't know. For the night, which is droning, under the moonlight, the serious moonlight, a cluster bomb of red projections travels up California's spine. The lawlessness of the ocean is a siren call. I was mistaken. A foundational characteristic of the wage relation is unemployment. The Asiatic barred zone, the misery of the maquiladoras, a shiny new traffic cone, a snow-bright hole. They offer an endless array of congealed shit, sometimes on sale. First comes disgust, then comes marriage to morality. Going into debt so as to be employable, so as to slowly pay off that debt, or never, or having been born into it, or to always already be considered unemployable, or branding a holding pen a welcome center, keeping the corporate body in shape. Mandatory self-reporting is optional, but strongly encouraged. The biomoral arc of the universe trends towards Fitbit. My irrational body will's illness interrupts production. It's hard to sort a spreadsheet while flat on your back. Is this what they mean by livability? Another apocalyptic water dream, momentary house of unqualified desire, damp stillness of early morning, the lily at rest, receptive, the unity of its gyre. First comes the eye, then comes the weapon. Lifestyle choices in place of a politics, a speed bump in the midst of apprehension. Why is the playing field blue? How does the iris find its object? I substitute my badly disguised morbidity for ever-present longing. I envy the deliberateness with which he ties his shoes, so too his untainted youth, his face a tight green tendril. My constant container, though it oozes and bleeds, has yet to utterly burst. I stick my nose between the rusty links to get at the new jasmine. He calls my thyroid beautiful, then sticks a needle in my neck. Some weep more than others, and those who do are looked up to by those who don't. Queen Elizabeth fuckface draws a blood-red X over an entire region. Humanitarian procedures are designed to annihilate certain human lives where history is an endless catalog of extraction, of produced and sustained misery, plunder culture, culture plunder. They're gold mad. They even sweep the seams. Those who choose the lesser evil forget very quickly that they chose evil. He works hard to ensure his consumption is visible. My tactic, the opposite, is perhaps no better. Those drapes don't cover what they should. Those drapes don't work. Are feelings tactics? Can emotional life be radicalized? Can I Swiffer away their ideology? What will be left? As if sexuality were nothing but penetration, my own private shale gate, the field, its animal exuberance. Pleas and apparatus against perpetual shame and hopelessness. A shovel-ready, heart-shaped ass, bare thighs on damp grass in the humidity of an evacuated August night, or true orange crush. It is terrific to learn something about the unknown by dint of sheer desire for it. There is nothing remarkable without you to see it with. What would it mean for ears to find their own will? What I hold out is unattainable or impossible, so there's no need to venture into risk. So the dream's forever projectable, cathectable. That Monday morning return, how I bemoan it and yet huddle off quietly to my caving station, pointing at the rift, the coastal range, the cognitive hill, displacing the structure onto the individual, instrumentalized as expendable, institutionalized as disposable, the winners win by others losing by force. Another ladder lowered into the slippery sludge rising from the west, grinding the nub, nibbling the lobe, wrap around at the 20, bear hug at the 5. Assuming the content is static, the category knowable, the male becomes the prototype, the rest is rendered invisible. Underdevelopment isn't a state of development, but its consequence. Your portfolio is reeking. The condo kills the neighborhood in 2 months flat. I feast on ants in the outback. I venture into the swap meet to buy back my car coat. Diamonds in the cracks and crevices. Rubies under a watch of a screw loose. The seepage is everywhere. You can never cut clean through. But what is causation, really? First, the invention of joblessness. Then the landscape envisioned as an endless succession of cell blocks. A woman aboard a vessel is considered bad luck, but my right to white life is never questioned. The border makes an unruly gate. Cleanliness is secondary. The point is to drench myself in scalding hot water. The listening chambers on either side of my head collaborate to produce a metronome. I have come to find some stability in the 9 to 5. The money arrives at the end of the month almost as an afterthought, but I don't want the world in which this sense of security is necessary or cultivated. It's not a consistent type through time I want, but enunciation in acts. the enumeration of heavy gray oak hibernating in January like a teen in its bedroom? How can I preserve my body without preserving its exploitation into labor? How can I care best for yours? A tired duvet, a rumpled set of cables where you're living, a rumpled set of cables weaving their way through abandonment, the evacuated space around where your living, breathing extension once thrived. My throat closes at the thought of it. The curve of your clavicle, a perfectly layered puff. And in that moment, my brain is all guts. Numbing heat followed by a burst of courage, which lasts about as long as the stairs extend to the street. Where matter does not take form until it is observed, and the agora was never non-policed. A sea vessel may fly any flag, but still a flag it must fly. Do I wiggle when I walk? That's ideology's extension, sovereignty's proprioception. First 2 incisors crumble, then I'm wearing a beanie you yank as you fill me up from behind. What does it mean to have good boundaries? Fish, grain, beans, flour, fats, cheese, onions, horses, oxen, candles, soap, textiles, pine, oak, cedar, hoops, rings, and nails. Wild mustard thriving atop what we can't be sure is a butte. A pointer parts the lips and ventures slowly past the threshold. Baby's breath in coming green water. A Leo in the twilight of his mane. Gather around the bow and listen to the whale bark. Fidelity to the canon, flatulence is in the common soup. Satellite wrist for the patient, data management for the caretaker. The dandelions are cheerier than we are. The quake won't shake the landed's grip. We need activation for that to escape hatch from domesticity, from property and its inheritance, a little blue balloon. Hole in the leg in which to store the spirits and some extra bread. What's that smell? Autonomous ooze. The break-off column goes rogue, thumping into the life hole as long as the river's been running. First is contingent decision, then is official history. I'm waffling, looking at this blade with you. Rather than wonder whether the ends justify the means, one must ask what those choice of those means in itself tends to impose. In place of an offer, an imperative backed by guns. The very sphere of work which makes it possible in the first place. To solve the problem by exterminating the person. A transcription from beneath the collapsed earth. I bite my tongue and try to be a pleasant patient, clinging to the vape for dear life. Out of home boost, work ready blow, groove is in the heart. Or should I not again utter ardor? What's the difference between vulnerability and openness? My end zone dance is planting bulbs, trained to forward, preferring to forage lightly in the grape green field. Employing my time in such activities as daytime sleep, it may look like conducting business, but I'm mapping a route back from the working dead. Should sensuality produce guilt? What if instead of the idea of the future, what we really love is the malleability of the past? But you know how women are. I make a barrier of my aptitude, a conundrum of my inclination. Somersault in the infield, cartwheel on the warning track, and the green between, the constancy of its splitting, the whole earth under its barrel. I scoop the hardened yolk from its white crib. A holler is a hill one should run from. Thank you.